Echoes of time management masters in the world. Hello again, everybody. In the last few lessons, we discussed the concept of getting things done, or GTD. Today, we will combine the concept of GTD with methods used for time management. All ideas are connected. However, the simplest way is usually the most effective way. If you remember, Peter Drucker once said that we should focus our energy on completing very important tasks and delegate other simpler tasks. In addition, remember that Stephen Covey, the author of the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, told us to focus on matters that sit in the second quadrant, important but non-urgent matters. We talked about the concept of each day eating the frog. In other words, complete the most important and complex tasks in the morning. Don't procrastinate. Now today we are going to delve more deeply into the theory of eating that frog. Brian Tracy expanded and developed Mark Twain's theory into eating 3 frogs. In other words, 3 important tasks should be completed each day. In this way, success in life is not dictated by how many tasks we complete, but in focusing on the important tasks and completing them to the best of our ability with our heart and soul. According to GTD, proposed by David Allen, all of our tasks and responsibilities, including the ideas we think about, the assignments we receive from others, all of these things should be written down or put into lists in apps or on a mobile phone or such an inbox. Only when all tasks have been collected in one place can we classify them into those on a calendar and those in lists. Then, lists can be subdivided into those with deadlines and those without deadlines, which can be classified further into contexts. In its simplest form, there are 2 classifications, calendars and lists. In calendars, tasks need to be completed at certain times. There's no difference between important and unimportant matters when a calendar. Now consider this. If you promise to make a phone call or to call someone back, but when that scheduled time comes to pass where you need to make that call, you think suddenly it's not important enough to suspend this more important task that you are currently working on. Aren't you still expected to keep your promise? This is why we must be so disciplined in adhering to the tasks we put on our calendars. It is critical. If an item is placed on the calendar at a fixed date and time, you must have the discipline to complete them at their scheduled time. Other tasks not placed in the calendar have little demands on time. They can be placed into different contexts, and those contexts are more flexible. This concept allows us to deal with the very practical and important reality that circumstances and needs change, and that at any point, urgent matters or emergencies can appear without threatening your ability to get things done. Of course, even when items are scheduled, you will still choose between those important matters to complete first over less important items. But since calendar items do not interfere with contextual items, there is no danger that you will sacrifice one of these tasks for the other. What's more important is how we should classify and organize tasks on our lists. They are numerous. So how do we accomplish this? First, we must organize the important tasks. At this point, we've written down all of our tasks, and it is easy for us to classify them with software. So we select the important matters, called frogs. There can't be too many frogs. You can choose no more than 3. 3 is an approximate number, though. When you complete 3 frogs, you can choose another 3. But it doesn't have to be 3. If these frogs are very complex, these important matters, perhaps 2 frogs, or even 1 is enough on a given day. The important thing to remember is that you don't choose too many. When items are listed and then prioritized, we know what to work on, and this allows us to work consistently and without delay, resulting in continuous accomplishment in our work and in our life in general. Even if you cannot eat the entire frog in the morning, that is, complete the most important tasks before the morning is over, you will have accomplished some of it. For example, on a specific day, you can complete your scheduled items first at their scheduled times. If you're expected to call someone at 10 a.m. and promise to go out at 2 p.m., you must do this at their scheduled times. Furthermore, when you review your list and see all the tasks on it, you should also understand the context or situation you are in. For example, if you're in your office and you see there is no one around to disturb you, you can use this time to eat that frog. If you are presented with an emergency to complete, your organization of tasks into schedules and lists will allow you the flexibility to handle those tasks. Handle them quickly, and then return to the task of handling that frog. The lists and the priority you have given them allow you to know where your focus should be at any given time. That is the power of this method. So when we use the idea of GTD to write down all our tasks, we can classify them. Once we finish classifying, we can pick out the important matters and choose to complete those tasks that are best suited to be handled in the situation we are in now. That is, our current context. Now, after hearing this concept for the last few lessons, and even with this knowledge, you still might not be used to this method, and you still might not understand how to put it into action. I've been told often, I cannot focus on these tasks now. I'm too busy, and I must procrastinate. This is another concept we will discuss in later lessons. But today's, we are focusing on the theory of eating frogs. The theory is based on the collection and classification of our tasks. We can call it the 3 processes for efficient time management: collection, classification, and execution. We'll talk more about this in the next class. These 3 processes are enough to collect all of our tasks and prioritize them. Then we will know to complete the most important tasks first. In our next class, we will talk about execution and what we can do to execute tasks on our list. Thanks for listening. As always, I welcome your feedback. If you feel these audio lessons are good, please share it with your friends.